Sidney Powell was one of the leaders of the legal side of the attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election. And also now one of the few people that seems to be really suffering any consequences. Her and Rudy Giuliani are basically the only ones. Her ability to practice law seems very much up in the air in the future. And the massive lawsuits against her from companies like Dominion are still proceeding and could very well cost her a ton of money. They already have, actually. But anyway, she's been interviewed recently about some of the claims she made, some of the basic factual errors in what she tried to accomplish last year. And so it didn't go very well for her. Let's get into a bit of it.
What research or fact checking did you do at the time to find out what Smartmatic's actual involvement in the election was?
Do you work for Smartmatic?
You've made an allegation against Smartmatic that they stole a presidential election. I think it's incumbent on both of us to know what Smartmatic's involvement was. It seems like a pretty foundational fact.
I mean, I'm confused right now about why you're here.
Because you made a series of very strong allegations against Smartmatic and against Dominion, containing many errors of fact. Do you accept the fact now that the company that you accused of stealing a national election only operated in one county in LA in California? One county, one state?
No, I'm not prepared to accept that fact. I think Smartmatic's involvement was far more significant than that. Do I think they're trying to minimize their involvement? Of course I do.
You said that Smartmatic owns Dominion. How do you justify such a basic factual error?
I'm going to stop this interview. It's wholly inappropriate in the litigation that we're in.
But we're not even in the area of great dispute. These are the simple facts of who owns what.
No, we're done. I'm sorry.
These are facts.
When we are in litigation against me personally,
I understand that,
but we're billions.
Yes, I understand that these are very serious allegations.
Thank you very much.
But these are also very.
Okay, so Wowza, that looks like a person who can't back up their BS. Like, it's wholly inappropriate, and I'm Audi 5000. Yeah, you got to have a better ability to defend yourself. She's a lawyer. Like, aren't they the people that are good at debate and like relish really getting into it? She had no defense whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's in line with what's happened to them all across the country. Is they've bought multiple of these frivolous lawsuits. They have gotten their butts whooped, handed to them from east to west, north to south, with all of these baseless accusations. And if you read some of the statements made by some of these judges, it was just been harsh. And we're talking about conservative judges, moderate judges, liberal judges. They're just like, you guys are wasting our time with all of this crap. This is in line with what's literally been happening to them in the courts. They've been laughed out of every single court that they bought this nonsense to. And that's why she can't come up with, well, actually, if you look at it, it's a shell company and it's overseas and blah. No, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. And so, you see it on camera when she's finally confronted by somebody who's just like, just a basic question. This isn't gotcha journalism. It's just like, all right, you said that one thing is so. Can you explain to us why you would say that? Nah, I just said it. Yeah. All right, thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing. See you next time.
Yeah, like you gotta have some defense like that. And people might be watching and be like, well, yeah, Wosny, it's easy to say that, except that the shell company thing isn't true. Like, well, yeah, but she's a liar. She could lie. Like, I at least expect you to lie. You don't even have that. That's supposed to be your whole thing. The whole thing leaves me thinking, man, maybe I could have become a lawyer. I always thought it was really intimidating and difficult, but like maybe it isn't really. Anyway, they were able to eventually convince her to come back, either by reassuring her that, I don't know, they'll change the subject, or because Sidney Powell likely has a memory like a goldfish. But anyway, here is a bit more of that Australian interview with Sidney Powell.
After some discussion, Ms. Powell agreed to answer more questions.
I'm highly skeptical of how long this is going to last.
Claiming her legal issues prevented her from talking about the voting machine companies. All of the organizations who had the responsibility to check the nature of this election and to verify its results say there was no fraud.
That's the propaganda they're putting out. I disagree with that completely, and we have and will produce additional evidence that shows otherwise.
What you're describing is a massive countrywide fraud involving the FBI, the DOJ, the Department of Homeland Security, the organizations who certify elections, and on, all the way up to the Attorney General, and thousands of local election officials. Are you saying that thousands of Americans participated in a fraud?
I am saying that thousands of Americans had some role in it, knowingly or unknowingly. It was essentially a bloodless coup where they took over the presidency of the United States without a single shot being fired.
Who's they in that sentence?
I don't know who all that they are. I would really like to know the answer to that. But it's a significant number of they, and they knew exactly what they were doing, and they planned it for at least 3 years. This was no accident.
Do you ever hear yourself and think that it sounds ridiculous?
No, I know myself very well. I've been in me a long time. I know my reputation.
There's got to be a better way to say that. She should record herself sometime. Then just play it back and see what she can learn. Anyway, yeah, she has nothing. Like, she puts, just because she starts a lot of lawsuits, Wosny, does not mean that she's actually one of like the Republican fighters who's never gonna back. She had nothing. Anyway, final thoughts.
I too have been in me for a very, very long time, John. I can't figure out how to get out of me.
I too have been in me, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. Anyway, no, just this whole thing is laughable, God, and it's like, okay, we're laughing now. Like, what is Sidney Powell going to be doing after the 2024 election? And honestly, maybe it doesn't matter, but there's going to be others that perhaps do have a couple of neurons to rub together that might be able to be more convincing, especially with conservative judges. So anyway, look, this is laughable and everything, but I am worried about where this is going.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.